Some Hollywood stories fade over time, while others return heavier, darker, and impossible to ignore. Demi Moore at 62 is finally speaking with a clarity she never had in her 20s, 30s, or 40s. For the first time, she is revealing the private struggles behind her marriage to Ashton Kutcher, the secrets she carried, the pain she hid, and the truths she protected for nearly 2 decades. What was once silence has now become confession, reshaping the narrative we thought we knew about their love story, and offering insight into the cost of maintaining a public facade. A love that seemed perfect. When Demi Moore met Ashton Kutcher in May 2003, she was 40, healing from her divorce with Bruce Willis. Ashton, only 25, entered her life with warmth, charm, and attention she hadn't felt in years. Their first conversation lasted 8 hours, an instant emotional connection that made Demi feel accepted, flaws and all. Within weeks, he met her daughters and even Bruce Willis, a rare gesture in Hollywood's tangled ex-spouse dynamics. By the time they married on September 24, 2005, the world celebrated them as the ideal modern couple, blending families and appearing to rewrite the rules of love with their public devotion. Tragedy before the wedding. Behind the perfect image, a private tragedy had already begun. 2 years before their wedding, Demi suffered a devastating miscarriage at 6 months, a child they had named Chaplain Ray. Though she had been sober for nearly 20 years, Demi admitted later that early pregnancy, drinking, and smoking haunted her with guilt. This loss created a silent wall in their marriage, even as they pursued IVF, fertility treatments, and adoption. While Ashton felt ready for fatherhood, Demi spiraled into emotional darkness. This tragedy marked the first crack in their relationship, a wound neither could fully heal, foreshadowing struggles far heavier than anyone could see from the outside. The weight of silence. The miscarriage left Demi fragile, vulnerable, and slipping back into old patterns she had fought to escape. What began as a drink to cope with grief escalated into a relapse, involving alcohol, prescription pills, and self-harm. Ashton tried to comfort her at first, but over time, his distance grew. The man who once felt like her savior became unreachable. Desperate to save their marriage, Demi made compromises she believed would keep him close, choices that ultimately eroded her sense of self. What was meant to protect the marriage instead hollowed her out, leaving her ashamed, confused, and questioning her own worth in ways she had never imagined. Compromise and confusion. In her 2019 memoir, Inside Out, Demi disclosed one of her deepest wounds, agreeing to threesomes at Ashton's request. She believed these acts could restore their emotional connection. Instead, they left her feeling smaller, emptier, and disconnected. As Ashton increasingly embraced a modern, open-minded approach to marriage, Demi felt her identity slipping away. The tension escalated, and her attempts to be everything he wanted only amplified her internal collapse. Addiction, shame, and confusion became intertwined with her longing for love and connection. Behind closed doors, the emotional distance between them widened, creating a silent storm that neither could openly confront, yet both felt in every interaction. Growing distance. As Demi spiraled, Ashton grew increasingly distant. Late nights, excuses, and long absences hinted at a shift in his commitment. Demi sensed it before anyone else, watching the man who had once adored her become someone she no longer recognized. Her daughters, witnessing their mother's struggle, began to worry, feeling the tension in a home that had once been filled with laughter. What had looked like a fairy tale from the outside was a home slowly unraveling from within. The gap between public image and private reality widened daily, leaving Demi to carry a burden she was unprepared to share with anyone, not even herself. The betrayal that shattered by 2011, 6 years into their marriage, Demi was barely holding on. She maintained a public facade of stability while privately struggling with heartbreak and addiction. Then came the blow that broke everything. On what should have been their 6th wedding anniversary, she discovered via a Google alert that Ashton had spent the night with 22-year-old Sarah Leal. The betrayal was not only personal but humiliating. Demi had seen the girl before, even witnessing Ashton take her number at a bowling alley. The affair confirmed a truth Demi had feared, shattering the last remnants of trust in a marriage already frayed by pain and compromise. The cost of silence. The affair was devastating, but the most painful aspect was Ashton's justification. He suggested that Demi had already lost herself in trying to satisfy him. Her silence, her compromises, and her sacrifices had been misunderstood, misused, and ultimately betrayed. Demi's struggle was not just about a failed marriage. It was about rediscovering her own identity after years of losing herself in the service of others. This realization forced her to confront the costs of staying silent and the ways she had allowed pain and fear to shape her life, setting the stage for a long journey of healing and self-reclamation. Reclaiming herself. Years later, Demi speaks from a place of strength. She has rebuilt her bond with her daughters and confronted the addiction and shame that haunted her for decades. Through what she calls solo partnering, she emphasizes being whole independently without relying on another person to fill voids. Her public revelation is not just about Ashton Kutcher's betrayal. It is a statement of reclaiming agency, embracing personal worth, and refusing to allow silence to define her story. By sharing the truth, Demi transforms pain into empowerment, demonstrating the resilience required to rise after heartbreak and betrayal. A lesson in strength. Demi Moore's journey reminds us that even the strongest people can lose themselves in love, only to find courage to rebuild. The miscarriage, addiction, and betrayal she endured could have defined her, yet she chose to reclaim her story. Speaking her truth publicly allowed her to release decades of guilt and shame. Her experience highlights the importance of self-love, healing, and boundaries, even amid relationships that appear perfect on the surface. At 62, Demi demonstrates that confronting the darkest chapters of one's life can lead not just to survival, but to a renewed sense of purpose, identity, and inner strength. Finding clarity in the pain, Demi Moore's story is a testament to the complexity of love, loss, and self-discovery. From a seemingly magical romance to the deepest betrayals, her life illustrates that personal growth often comes from facing uncomfortable truths. By breaking decades of silence, she provides a rare glimpse into the costs of maintaining appearances and the power of honesty. Her journey is not just a Hollywood cautionary tale. It is a universal story about reclaiming one's voice, embracing self-worth, and discovering that even after the heaviest darkness, light and clarity are possible.